Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the Nation newspaper. The major story here says, minimum wage, Labour hopeful of better deal. And the writer there says, we are in talks to ensure submission of bill soon, says TUC president. That's the Trade Union Congress's president. And another story here, Tinubu relieves fond memories of mom at play presentation. That's the picture story there. And another story quickly, how Emefiele moved millions to wife by witness. Court fixes Tuesday for ruling on ex-CBN boss request to travel. Those are some of the stories you find on the front page of the Nation newspaper. To the First News newspaper, legislative showdown. Lawmakers take bold stances on national crisis, controversies. And the writers there, Senate asks Tinubu to address hunger, says Nigerians losing patience. Reps threaten to arrest Dangote cement management over price hike, call for suspension of Samoa agreement implementation. And another story here says Tinubu creates livestock ministry to foster peace between herders and farmers. Some stories on the front page of the First News newspaper. To the Daily Independent now, the major story here, take emergency measures to end hunger, Senate tells federal government. The writers there say addresses Nigerians and steps being taken to tackle situation. Reps, or address Nigerians rather, on steps being taken to tackle situation. Reps ask the federal government to suspend Samoa agreement implementation. Bill 674 legislative seats for women passes second reading. And quickly, another story here. NPAN tasks federal government on safe return of abducted journalists' families. Those are some of the stories you find on the front page of the Daily Independent. To the Daily News Hub, still talking about hunger. Senate in panic debate warns Tinubu Nigerians losing patience. Fears attacks by hunger-ravaged, angry citizens. Raises the alarm. Nigeria's food reserve zero, silos empty. And LGBT clause controversy. Suspend Samoa agreement. 88 reps tell federal government. Mandate relevant House committees to probe agreements provisions. Fuel scarcity. Reps weighed in. Probe development. Some stories on the front page of the Daily News Hub. To this Nigeria now, still talking about hunger. Hungry Nigerians may soon protest if food crisis persists. Senate warns federal government. Silos reserves empty. Lawan raises the alarm. Government taking measures to address worries. Another story here. Wike allocates 400 hectares of land for Apo mechanics relocation. Those are some stories you find on the front page of this Nigeria newspaper. And to the New Telegraph. Hardship, address food crisis to avoid Nigerians' anger. Senate warns federal government as nation's food reserves empty, says governors, MPs will share 2,800 trucks to farmers. And another story here. Federal government plans to borrow fresh $2 billion crude oil-backed loan. A report claims that that's what the federal government wants to do. And it is not true. New financing transaction will be announced at the right time. NNPCL has reacted to that. PMS, the 13 vessels set to offload 230.5 billion naira worth of product. That should be music to the ears of Nigerians. Some stories on the front page of the New Telegraph. To the Leadership newspaper now. Tinubu creates livestock ministry despite Orosanye report. Heads Presidential Committee on Livestock Reform alongside Atahiru Jega. Experts worried over funding for additional ministry. Nigeria targets less meat imports. All right, another story here. RFI audited accounts show no 423 billion naira fraud. That's what the aides are saying. Northwest Commission bill ready for Tinubu's assent. Senate has said. All right. Exchange rate cripples vehicle importation as volume drops by 60%. Some stories on the front page of the leadership newspaper. To the Salient Times, farmers' headers clash. Tinubu creates Ministry of Livestock Development. Says it's a permanent solution to farmers' headers clash. President Tinubu to chair committee on livestock reforms, appoints Atahiru Jega as deputy chairman. Mieti Allah reacts. And a sad one here, 5 die as trailer crashes into Anambra market. Some stories on the front page of the Salient Times. And to the Nature News now. Tinubu creates Ministry of Livestock Development, appoints Jega co-chair of Reform Committee. And another story, Lagos to resume monthly environmental sanitation 8 years after cancellation. Some stories on the front page of the Nature News. Ibrahim.
Right, the first me here is the Blueprint newspaper. Livestock Ministry will develop economy, give our people hope. That's according to Tinubu. Says this is not politics, but a practice across West Africa. Above the masthead, 69 terrorists surrender in Cameroon, Niger. That's MNJTF. No provision in Samoa compelling Nigeria to accept LGBTQ. This is according to Nigeria Bar Association. Nigerian News Direct is next. Tinubu targets economic prosperity from livestock development. Creates Federal Ministry of Livestock Development. Tasks Tijani, others to implement reforms. Automation of livestock. NCAA to sanction airline operators over deceitful departure. Governor Adeleke bags award as Osun emerges first position in Nelfon's process. Next is Platform Times. More Nigerians at risk of displacement as flood wreaks havoc. Only 3 of 22 airports profitable, others subsidized. That's according to FAN. NSCDC officer sentenced to life imprisonment for raping minor in Ekiti. Above the nameplate, Nigeria faces severe shortage, 1 town planner per 70,000 people, NITP president. Next is the Daily Times. ICPC bemoans soaring cases of sexual harassment in primary, secondary schools, calls for decisive action against offenders. Nigerians may run out of patience if federal government fails to address food crisis, as according to Senate. Next is the Pointer. Okada ban has reduced crime in Delta State. Oborewori assures workers of conducive environment, promises better deal for retirees. DTSG to people in flood-prone areas. Don't wait, move to higher ground now. Relief efforts underway, Osoza. Above the nameplate, stop admission of underage. JAMB warns, fingers state varsities. Next is Vanguard newspaper. 400 billion naira oil production shortfall threatens 2024 budget. And then we also have an NPC seeks $2 billion $2 billion oil-backed facility to finance operations. Without salaries, SANU, NASU, crippled nations' varsities. Next is the Punch newspaper. Fuel crisis lingers as NNPC seeks fresh $2 billion crude-backed loan. NNPC in talks for another oil-backed loan to boost its finances, says Kyari. Nigerian drug baron flees South Africa, arrested in Imo mansion. Court orders forfeiture of NIMASA funds diverted under Jonathan government. Rescue abducted Kaduna journalist families, NPAN tells federal government. And above the nameplate, NEF demands grazing reserves as Tinubu plans livestock ministry. 19 Nigerian airport not viable. Next is Business AM. Analysts forecast gloomy second half for Nigerian economy in 2024. Slow growth, high inflation, tight monetary policy, and challenging exchange rate. Nigeria tackles cost of living crisis with massive food importation, etc. Next is the Business Times. Why we are subsidizing 19 airports, that's according to FAN, says only 3 Nigerian airports are profitable. Majority of 22 airports managed by FAN require upgrade of critical infrastructure. Tinubu creates Ministry of Livestock Development, Tasks Reforms Committee on Agricultural Productivity. And then Nigerians may run out of patience if federal government fails to address food crisis, Senate warns. Number of internet service providers dip in July 2024. Economic integration. Federal government canvasses unified business laws for Africa. Last but not least is the nation's sport alive. Osimhen. Talking about Napoli pre-season, Osimhen undergoes medical tests, trains with Italian side. Dele Bashiru vows to help Lazio secure top 4. Clear out. Greenwood Sancho to lead 8-player summer exodus at Old Trafford. Spain 2 and 1, France 1. Yamal Wonder strike sings Le Bleu. Everton rejects second Man United bid for Braithwaite. Man United have £42 million Euro bid accepted. And Bleep Test, Gusto is Chelsea's fittest player. Chelsea in talks to sign £25 million at DME. That's about it for the newspapers up for review this morning.
Interesting. And dominating the papers this morning is the matter of food security, food inflation, and the Senate, as well as the House of Reps members talking about government speaking to these matters. I believe that you have been updated, so you can pick any of the papers to get more details on any of the stories that interest you. So still ahead on TVC Breakfast, getting quality healthcare cannot be compromised and the closest points of care to the common man. The primary healthcare centers are almost in a stage of comatose.